Hello and welcome back to Dawn Chorus Writes. Hi, I'm Dawn and I write Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audio fiction, and this has been a special request by Aisha for a birthday surprise, and it started as a one-shot and now it's part 4, so I hope you're enjoying it. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? There will be a part 5, so you don't want to miss out on that. Final part 5, and comment down below what you think and what's going to happen next. Okay, hope you enjoy. Bye. Part 4. Adrien's POV. Marinette paused before pulling away a little. I think it's time to go, birthday boy. She gave him a little wink. Are you really not telling me what is happening? I don't need any fuss made. I would be quite happy to remain here with you. He was reluctant to move his hand away from around her waist. I feel the same way. She bopped him on the nose as she leaned in, about to kiss it, but stopped. But your friends want to, so let them, okay? She gave him a look he knew well. Another 2 ticks in his confirmation, but she couldn't be, could she? He wasn't that lucky after all, he was the black cat. He smiled and kissed her on the cheek. Okay. Plus, if you are still wanting to come round tomorrow for hot chocolate and pillow fort and cuddles. She felt herself blush at being so bold, pushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Of course I do. Our second date and being with my girlfriend. I wouldn't miss it for the world. He tightened his grip around her waist, wanting to pull her in a fraction, but knew they had better make tracks, guessing it would be a party they had organised, knowing his girlfriends. Good. That's good, because I was thinking what films we could watch. Do you fancy another anime, or action-adventure, or romance? Climbing to his feet, he held out a hand for her to hold. What would you like to watch? How about for romance, you got mail? Or we could go Wes Anderson and Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love his imagery. Both give me the autumn feels. She swung her hand out between them as she did a little skip and a step, matching that of his heart. Today he was the happiest he had ever been, and it no longer mattered to him. It was his birthday. Spending the day alone with Marinette, admitting his feelings to her that had been building up for a while, and oh, don't get him started on the kiss he had found himself still repeating in his head, wanting to so much to do it again. And yet, there was still this nervousness between them, of the bubbling sensation in his stomach before he reached out and touched her, overthinking each move. Like right now, he had the desire to wrap his arm around her shoulder as they walked so that he would feel constantly connected to her. But if he dropped her hand to make the move, would she think he was pulling away from her? How could he transition the move smoothly? Oh, why was he being like this? If he was in Chat Noir suit, he wouldn't think twice. But no, Adrien wasn't as cool as his counter-self. He caught her shiver again and couldn't help but smile. This was his chance. Channeling a bit of Chat, he muttered, "Come here." He pulled her hand closer to his side and then, without second thinking it, slipped it out of hers, running it over her shoulder and landing on the other side. She leaned in and sighed happily as she rested her head on his shoulder as their feet became in sync. Angling his head down, he kissed her on the top of her head, feeling himself relax once more. They rounded the corner and recognized where they were. Are we going to Alia's place? Yeah. I need to... Oh, you'll see. She let out a flustered giggle in his shoulder, muffling the sound. He couldn't help but join in with her laughter. She paused in step, taking him by surprise. What do we tell everyone? About what? He angled himself in front of her as she kept her gaze down at the shoes. Us? I mean, do we tell them that we're dating? Or we don't have to? I mean, if... Marinette, it's still early, so I understand. She pointed her fingers together, something she did when she was nervous, he noticed. Marinette, I love you. Of course I want to tell everyone that we're dating. Why wouldn't I? Unless you... No, I want to. For a while, in fact, but... What's the problem? He placed his hand on her cheek, sliding it underneath her chin, lifting it up so that he could finally stare into her ocean eyes. I mean, I will shout it from the balcony if you want me to. He gave her a cheeky grin and held it until her anxiety gave way to a smile, followed by a light laugh. That's better. I'm proud to say that Marinette Dupang Chang is my girlfriend because I think you are the most amazing person in the world, whom I love with all my heart, and I really want to kiss. He took a sharp intake of breath as she gazed at him through her eyelashes, whilst her hands drifted across his neck and rested behind his head. She arched up on her tippy toes, brushing her lips against his. Oh, wow. His heart was suddenly too enormous to be contained inside his chest and was bursting forth. They broke apart, breathing was scarce, and knew his face would be flushed with the colours of the season, and yet a grin was plastered on his face that reached from one ear to another. Oh, he could kiss this girl every minute of the day for the rest of his life and never tire of it. I love you too, Adrien, and more than proud to say that you're my boyfriend. I just can't quite believe it. Yeah, me too. But in a good way, you know? Yeah, in a really good way. She rolled her lips between her teeth and did a look with the lashes again, knowing his cheeks had got that little bit darker. Shall we? She gestured with her head towards the door to the apartment building. Now we'll wonder where we are. Plus, we have tomorrow to keep doing this. She gave him one last cheeky smile before removing his hand from her waist and securing it in hers. Okay, she seriously needed to stop being this cute, adorable, and teasing him with the idea of being... No, it wasn't possible. Was it? His lady? Lost in his thoughts, he let her lead him towards the door, and hearing Alia shout, "Come in!" through the buzzer. As they stood outside Alia's flat door, Adrien caught Marinette before she knocked. "Don't let go, okay?" She replied with a bashful smile and gave him a small nod as she tapped her knuckles against the door. He intertwined his fingers around hers as the door burst open. "Happy birthday, sunshine boy!" Alia smiled, gestured for them to come in, noticing how they were interlocked, and transformed the smile to a smirk. "Had a good day so far, have we?" Her gaze shifted from Adrien and landing on Marinette, who he could feel was squirming already. He gave her fingers a light squeeze to reassure her as they stepped forward. At the end of the hallway, long golden streams created a curtain which blocked out the living room. The hesitation gave way to excitement, seeing how much effort his friends had put into this already. With Marinette at his side, this was going to be fun. He stepped through first, followed by Marinette, as an explosion of sound erupted around them, declaring, "Happy birthday, Adrien!" As his entire class stood before him underneath a handmade banner, balloons and a rainbow of colours from streamers darting from one corner to another. As if the crowd had counted to 3, they all pounced on Adrien at once, engulfing him in hugs and breaking the link between him and Marinette. As their fingers tore away, his heart dropped, as the hand felt empty. He glanced over at her, angling his vision around the bobbing heads in front of him, and found her giggling at the vision before her. "Thanks, guys, for all this," he tried to shout over the noise. "Okay, shall we let Sunshine Boy breathe and get this party started?" Alia flung her arms into the air. Nino's cue to start the music, and the crowd either took to the makeshift dance floor in the center of the room or to the outer edges. "Hey." Adrien moved back to Marinette, who was now talking to Luca. Part of him had been jealous of how much more at ease she was around Luca instead of himself. In class, he had overheard her confirm to Alia that she and Luca were only friends, and yet he knew Luca had wanted more, but she had chosen him, right? She had chosen Adrien, even said she loved him, so why did he suddenly feel... No, that was silly, right? "Hey, you." "That was a welcome," she chuckled, giving him a warm smile, her fingers fidgeting with a stray piece of thread from her sleeve. He wanted to so much take her hand back or slide his around her waist, but that would be too bold. Would it look like he was claiming her to Luca, not sure how his friend would respond? "Happy birthday, man. Have you had a good day so far?" inquired Luca. "Yeah, I have. It's been amazing." Adrien glanced at Marinette, who was now blushing with a sheepish smile across her face, causing him to let out a light laugh. "It's been the best day I could ever ask for. Spending it with Marinette," he said, knowing a large smile was forming across his face that he couldn't and didn't want to hide. Like he had told her, he was proud to say that she was his girlfriend, and that's why he... Surprised by Marinette giving him a playful nudge, he shifted his attention onto her, and with no other motive other than to feel connected to her, Adrien wrapped his arm around her waist and drew her in close. "So you two are together then? It's official?" Luca darted his gaze from Adrien, his hand, and landed on Marinette. "What's this? I used to, you know," Alia blurted in as she almost dived into the group. "Yes," Marinette and Adrien said as one. "What? Boyfriend and girlfriend? It's official. You two are officially a couple." Alia wiggled her finger back and forth between the pair as if pointing out all the details to the entire room. "Yes, Alia, we are," Marinette said, looking from her best friend to Luca, who was shifting on the spot, and back to Adrien, who was stroking his thumb in a reassuring manner in the dip of her waist. "Girl!" Alia's finger finally landed in front of her face and then quickly darted back and forth to Marinette. "Later," Marinette confirmed with a nod and a flustered giggle. "Shall we get something to drink?" Adrien whispered into Marinette's ear as his hand slid back across and found its home in hers once more. She guided him to the open kitchen part of the living space, searching the counter for drinks and snacks. I think we have a tropical drink. Grenadine, Coke, lemonade. Oh, my folks must have dropped this off. She moved to the other side of the counter and smiled at the beautiful designed cake for his birthday, based on the 3 colours yellow, green and purple. Do you like it? They wanted to do something for you to say happy birthday. Adrien was stunned that Marinette's parents would do this for him, especially when his own father hadn't. Part of him celebrated the fact that he liked to think he was part of her family and in the future would become his too. I must thank them tomorrow. What do you think they'll like? Flowers, a card, a food basket? He listed off all the thank you gifts he had memorized from Natalie. You can help make dinner with me tomorrow, and it gives Mum a break. But surely, a thoughtful gift says a lot more than a price tag can any day. That explained a lot, he thought to himself. That's why you are so thoughtful and caring. One of the things I find lovable about you. Would you say I'm lovable enough for you to dance with? She held her hand out in front for him to take. Adrien took it and did a little bow, ready to kiss her hand as she raised her eyebrows at him. It would be my pleasure, Marinette. He watched as her expression shifted and calculated for a minute before returning to a smile. Another tick, he thought to himself, guiding her into the middle of the room, receiving surprised looks and whispers from some of their friends. Are you all right? She seemed bashful, darting her gaze from one couple to another. We don't have to dance if you're not comfortable yet. Then, as if Nina was reading his mind, their song began playing in the background, catching a smirk off his friend. Our song? I mean, we have danced twice to it, and I kind of class it as our song, but you might not, so... She muffled into his shoulder as he encouraged her closer. I like to think of it as our song too. I have it on my playlist for when I found myself thinking of you. She leaned her head back and searched his eyes as he drowned in hers. Really? Adrien nodded his head. She reached a hand up and cupped his cheek as she kissed the other one, saying everything he wanted to hear in that moment. Thank you for listening to part 4 of A Birthday Surprise. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on part 5, the final part, I promise you, I think, coming out next week. So make sure you smash that like button, comment down below what you think of it and what's happening so far and what's going to happen next, because I love to hear what you think. And yeah, and I'll see you next week. Bye.